What was in your head, actually?
Yeah, like the thing is, I'm starting to think that not much. Welcome to the 4th episode of the Copilots podcast. I am Copilots, and I am here with
The rat motor.
Thank you, Mr. Comfast.
Oh my god.
Okay. Alright, so today I think we're going to be talking about being an international identity and I guess the role of friendships in that question.
Yeah. How deep do you want to go with this one? Because it sounds like you're in a deep mood.
Yeah, I would say that is a correct analysis. Yeah.
Let me stroke my mustache to get into the deep mood.
Yeah, let me do the same, but you can't
it's
see
an invisible mustache.
Hey, it is feelable.
Hey, we can all live in delusion. It's okay. But
It's not just me then.
You wanted the topic to you talk about the role of friendships and along with being an international identity.
Yeah, exactly, and how friendships have evolved as you've lived abroad over time, and how you find friendships here, how you find them in India.
Interesting.
And what sort of a role you think that friendships play in your life?
Sure. That's interesting because you're an international student here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an international student here, and maybe some of the people are also international students here that are watching. Maybe some are not, but maybe they can still relate because they had probably some kind of international experience.
Yeah.
Minor abroad.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Dutch people who were here just Dutch. They still went to minor abroad to experience a different culture, a different.
And everyone knows at least someone that is international.
Exactly. I mean, we're also connected now that you, at least maybe we think so, but you know, everyone that you know sort of has been somewhere or like does something and it's like has gone to this place, gone to that place. It's quite globalized in this current world.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, why don't we talk about our new little guest on the podcast?
Alright, so here we have Mr. House.
Oh my god, this brings back some memories.
Yeah.
This is you want to explain this one? Because this was yours.
Yeah, so this was actually built during a first year design and construction engineering project here at the TU Delft Faculty of Aerospace Engineering. And I think the point of the exercise of building this house was to demonstrate how crucial it is to have like really clear, cutthroat instructions for even the simplest of things, such as civil engineering.
Yes.
And those lessons stuck with me, as did the house. And I've been a very happy resident ever since.
Very nice.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, this was in the COVID era, and we all had to do this online.
Yeah.
And this is the closest we ever got to making a wing box.
Yeah.
Which is like basically a wing for an aircraft.
Exactly.
And this is kind of fun.
It's a pretty good wing box approximation, though, I think.
Yeah. It's got some spars and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's quite lightweight though.
Yeah, some riveting over here.
It's made out of wood though. That's quite old fashioned.
Yeah, it is. But the Wright brothers would be happy with that.
They are right indeed, after all. But this, I guess we will just keep this here as our nice little...
Yeah, I think so as well.
Nice little guest.
Yeah, I think he can feature in future episodes as well.
Yeah. Is it a he or...?
I think it's a he.
Sure. We can ask it later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're open-minded. Like.
Yeah.
Good.
So then, you want to move on with the topic?
I believe so.
International identity. Ooh. Let's start with you.
Sure.
Finland.
Yeah.
Born in Helsinki? Or close by?
Yeah, Helsinki for sure.
Helsinki.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Sure. Or some village nearby. I actually don't know. Where were you born?
I was born in Helsinki, the actual city, but I lived like 10 kilometers outside the city borders. But it was still quite urbanized, so it wasn't really like a village or the countryside where I was living for the first 13 years of my life.
Okay, but before you were born in Helsinki, where were you living?
That's actually an interesting story because I believe that I was conceived in the United States.
Really?
Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
New York or?
East Coast. I think my parents were living in Boston at the time, so not far from New York.
It's good to get some American audience here.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Let's say US a bit more times. US, America, US, America.
USA. USA. Nice. Because I hate the Americans. So yeah, I think they moved back to Europe in like early 2002. So I was still very small, like maybe about this big. And
maybe one more time for the camera. How big?
It's like this. Yeah, man, the editing's gonna be not
Alright, yeah, go on.
Yeah. So, but yeah, my parents, they were living in Helsinki, or essentially one of the biggest sort of suburbs of the city, and that is also where I lived for the first 14 years of my life.
Impressive.
Yeah, no, I think I had a really happy childhood there.
Interesting.
Finland's a wonderful place to grow up in. Yeah, still keep in touch with some of the friends, and I think that's something that you want to get into. Very
of course, because
saying that there's no homework is a myth, and I don't want to spout that out.
You're accustomed to that experience.
Very limited what you end up getting,
after
especially
hearing
in
some of
primary
the
school.
things that are different in your education.
And yeah, it's just like almost a utopia. Like there's forests everywhere. It's rather safe, and you can, for the most part, trust other adults, even though there are limits to that as well.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it's quite a privilege to having been a kid in Finland. Yeah, especially in the early 2000s, the way I was.
So when you were 14,
yeah,
little Topias,
yeah,
finally 14,
still this big,
moves to a country called Britain.
Yeah. That's when
Why?
everything started going downhill.
Why did you move there?
Yeah, I think I can talk about this.
Yeah.
So my dad was applying for some jobs at the European Union in the mid 2010s, and eventually one of those went rather well from his perspective, and we decided that we would move to London as a family. And I still remember the night that my dad sort of asked me if I would be open to moving abroad, and I was super nonchalant about like the whole affair, even though it would be life-changing, literally.
Interesting. Was that simply because you wanted to be in a new country, or what was in your head actually?
Yeah, like the thing is, I'm starting to think that not much. but if we're being serious for a bit, I think that I sort of hadn't grasped at how attached I was to Finland as a country. Like, you only realize that you lose something once you've lost it.
Right.
So at the time, it sounded fun. Like, oh shit, I could be a cosmopolitan teenager, I guess. I could live in London, essentially. Even though I didn't actually live in central London. But
you only miss it when it's gone.
Yeah, sort of. And that's not to say that I didn't have a great life in Britain as well. I still had a loving family. I made new friends in the school that I went to.
You had a new family in Britain?
I had a better family in Britain. No. But yeah, like hearing the news for the first time that you're moving abroad, maybe it was that I just wasn't old enough to really sort of process it at the time, but I didn't really care as much as I should.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
But did it happen suddenly, the change, or was it in terms of we're going now, we're gone, or is it like we're thinking about going and we'll go in the next 6 months or something? Yeah,
like my parents, they had kept me informed like for the couple of years prior to actually like popping the cherry. So like I guess I'd sort of had enough time to mentally prepare myself. But yeah, that being said, like the actual like, okay, now it's like a 70% chance that we're gonna be going within a couple of months, and we're leaving on the flight tomorrow morning. That was actually quite fast. It was maybe 2.5 months, something like that.
Interesting.
But let's go to your story for a bit. So you left India around the age of 10.
10.
Yeah. You're a lot younger than I was.
If we match up our age, like timeline. Yeah. So I was born in Pune. Yeah. Which is a city near Mumbai. Yeah. And I mean, it's a city that I was born in. It wasn't like far away from the city. It was in the city. It was like in the center. Like, yeah. Literally, like if you had to draw it was in the middle.
So you'd say that you're a citizen.
I'm a citizen. Yes, not a villager.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's I was born in a hospital.
Yeah.
In the city. Cool. And we lived next to like a river. So it was I grew up in a house that had like, you know, it was close to the river. We had a nice garden. It wasn't like, you know, many stories house. Indian houses, some of them like bungalows back in the day are just like one row, like long house pretty much. Yeah. That's sort of the house I grew up in, but you know, it was more fun for me being outside the house than in the house.
Okay.
That's what I remember growing up.
I actually have to agree with my childhood experience as well.
Yeah. And by in the house and outside the house, what I mean is, so inside these walls, for example, is the interior.
Yeah.
That was fine. I mean, you have rooms, you have TV. Actually, that was really fun.
Yeah.
TV was a big thing back in the day.
Yeah,
And
same.
it was part of a really big part of my childhood. Not anymore, or not part of my life right now.
Yeah.
But essentially, outside, what I mean is, outside the walls, the garden, or even outside the boundary of the garden, just outside, because we had in our garden especially a lot of trees, a lot of different kind of trees. Like I'm talking mango tree, coconut tree.
Yeah.
Once a coconut fell on my head, but that's a story for another time.
That explains so much.
Yeah, I get this joke also. But we had I don't know what guava. I think it's called guava or some kind of guava like species. 4 of them.
Damn.
And a papaya tree.
Nice.
We had a cactus thingy.
Yeah.
We had a aubergine. We had a lot of it was basically jungle.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad because when I was growing up and I look at old photos, it was really like a jungle. Like it was dense with a lot of greenery.
Yeah.
As I grew older, it started to become less and less, and we cut down a lot of things to have some space for stuff. But we still had some of the main trees there.
Yeah.
But it was very chill experience as a kid. I didn't grow up in an apartment like most kids in cities do.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Especially if you live in Asia, I think it's quite like a theme. If you live in a city, you live in some apartments.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to live, like touch land or touch the ground, which
touch grass.
touch grass. But that was when I was 0 years old, and I lived in that basically in the same house until 10 years old.
Yeah.
Until when I moved to the Netherlands.
Yeah. Just quickly going back to that, was it just you, your mom, and your dad in India?
No.
Yeah.
No. So in India, when the house I was living in, it was also my grandparents from my dad's side.
Exactly.
That's usually the custom way you live in India is basically you have your dad's grandparents, and the mom basically just lives with that household and takes care of that household. It's a tradition. At least back then it still was. I don't know about how much it is now, probably still yes.
Yeah.
And so it was the 5 of us. Yeah, 5 of us. And of course my grandparents had more kids, like more sons, but they lived somewhere else because the house just wasn't big enough to support like a large family. Yeah. But back in the day before I was born, actually, it was a much bigger family. Yeah. But we, it was the 5 of us essentially, and when I left, it was only my grandfather who remained. My grandmother wasn't. She passed away later on. Right. When I was 6 or 5, actually 5 years old. Which is actually quite interesting. I mean, we don't have to get into it too much, of course, but it was just like the first time I experienced death was quite young, as like 5 or 4 years old. Yeah. But it was definitely interesting. I think in a way life-changing as well, because I kind of realized that I kind of saw a bit of my earlier life. Like you play you have some playground, you do some homework. I don't know, you like a little bit of fun, and then you watch TV, and then you see my grandma, which is basically like a who has done it all pretty much. And you see, exactly. Okay, like that's the end. I kind of see interesting. Yeah, the circle of life. The circle of life, indeed. And I don't know if you had any similar story, but it definitely was a pivoting one for me, I would say. Yeah, I think that's actually a really interesting question, because I've never had anyone like really close to me from my family die where I would have actually like known them and met them several times throughout my childhood. So I can't really say that I relate to that. And I have 2 alive grandparents, both from my dad's side. They're in their 80s, both of them right now. They're still rather healthy, but obviously I know that eventually it is going to come up. Yeah. But I think it's good that at least I have friends who have had that experience at a much earlier age as well. Sure. Yeah. And I remember being very... I didn't know how to feel at first, because it was very like different than anything else. Yeah. But at the end, I mean, I was just sort of confused at what's going on. Everyone was sad. It was a very different experience, and reliving that, I remember how serious that was, because I was technically one of the closest sort of things that happened to me.
Yeah, exactly.
But essentially after that, three of us, my parents and I, moved to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
To Amsterdam actually at first.
Yeah.
Where it was basically because of jobs. My parents wanted to work, and this one was kind of like your one, where you were warned for a few years.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to ask you about this.
Just that it wasn't really that, my parents didn't say we're gonna move in a couple of years. It was more like, we're moving this year.
Yeah.
But it just got cancelled for 2 years straight.
Oh, right.
And then we all of a sudden had to move on like 2 days notice.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How did you feel back then? Do you remember?
It was very, it's actually fun because, funny story because, so I was in 4th grade.
Yeah.
That's the international, I think 4th grade is like...
Yeah, 10-year-old, it's pretty like...
Yeah.
Widespread
actually,
around the world.
Yeah, 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, okay.
But then, so I was told, my mom actually came here, and then, we were going to go in my 4th grade, but then that got cancelled due to some stuff.
Right.
5th grade, same thing happens again. And I'm telling my friends, by the way, for 2nd year now, that I'm gonna leave this year, and I'm still there the whole year.
Yeah.
And they're just like, this guy's just lying, like he's just...
Were you allowed to tell your friends, actually?
I was allowed to tell my friends.
Yeah, okay, because like the thing is, like when I had like the 2-year notice as well, like I wasn't supposed to tell any of my friends,
really?
But obviously I told some of the closest ones, like had to go get some regime.
400 days.
Exactly.
Go.
Yeah, no, but like at the time, like during those 2 years, at times it also seemed like we would maybe leave sooner as well. So maybe not instantly like you guys did, but like within a few months or something like that.
I see.
But they also thought that I was bullshitting.
Yeah, no, same. They thought like, this guy's liar.
Exactly.
He just shows up every day.
Yeah, exactly.
But we, essentially in the 6th grade, I was like, I stopped telling people because I was just like, it's just not gonna happen.
Point? Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. Alright. And then one week basically, a few days, I think it was like a Tuesday or something, we were told that you're going Saturday.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
So it was something like that, and basically, it was still like not confirmed because that had happened before.
Yeah.
But how do you make sure? Because it was like, okay, because this exact same thing happened before, but we had to make sure. So a couple more days go by, and I think basically on Friday evening, we knew for sure that we're not going to go, or it was Thursday evening.
Yeah.
Thursday.
And you're leaving on Saturday.
Yes, leaving on Saturday.
Insane.
So in India, I had school on Friday and Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So only Sunday we had day off.
Right.
Which is it was actually less time each day, so it averaged out normal.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of annoying, I guess.
Yeah.
But
did you go to school on that last Saturday?
No.
Right.
So that Friday was the last day. And I was at home, my parents told me tomorrow is the last day you have to go because we have a flight on Saturday. You cannot go to school, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was funny, the story, because on Friday I basically went up to my teacher.
Yeah.
And people were doing homework, and I just go to my teacher and I tell her, I'm not coming to school tomorrow. And my teacher thinks I'm being like
rude,
slick.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, what?
Go back to your seat.
What do you think you're doing? Go to the principal's office and tell her. And I was like, okay. I went to the principal. I told her, I'm not coming to school tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I remember. I had some fun with mine as well, but not as much. But I love that.
And my principal was like, what do you mean? Like, are you leaving school or something? What do you think you're doing? And then I was like, no, I have literally a flight.
So did your parents not warn them in advance, or?
I was warning them.
Okay.
I was the warner. Warner Bros.
Nice. Yeah. But since it was such a rapid departure from India for you, then how did that sort of affect all the friends that you had?
Definitely a lot, a really big impact, because when I moved to NL at first, I had a very strong accent, and I was used to hearing English in only that Indian accent.
Right.
So when I started talking to Dutch, actually it wasn't just Dutch people, it was international people.
Yeah,
and everyone's English was completely different.
Yeah.
Everyone had different accents, Spanish accent, Australian accent.
Yeah.
It was
British,
crazy.
American, Southern European, whatever.
Suriname, everything, all these countries.
Yeah.
And I'm like, first I had to figure out if they're speaking English.
Yeah.
And then try to understand. And I would always keep asking what. If you said something.
Yeah. What?
And then everyone would get annoyed because they thought I was just being annoying or mocking them or
Right,
something and
right.
making them say it. But I was just not understanding.
Yeah.
So it was kind of difficult. But I was also a very like I wasn't a shy kid. Like I was very I was like yeah
Out there.
out there for sure
Yeah.
in the first year. So it didn't really stop me from making friends. But it
Yeah.
was still like a thing that I knew annoyed people. But that's just the thing with accents and the way you learn a certain type of accent in English.
Yeah, that is true. Like enough exposure, it can really transform anything.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like 5 years ago, I had a really British accent.
Definitely.
Like,
definitely.
I literally remember going to the high school here in NL for the first day, and everyone was telling me like, "Are you sure that you're not British?" Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I do remember that. I do
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah, no, but now it's more like mixed. It's got American, Finnish, Dutch, British influences. Like,
Yeah, but it was very confusing because you were like this Finnish kid
yeah,
who came and started speaking posh English.
yeah,
It
exactly.
just messes with your brain. It's like how are you ending up like doing that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
very.
And what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know.
But then to catch up to your timeline,
Mhm.
I grew up then next 4 years up until 14,
Yeah,
still in the Netherlands.
yeah.
Whilst you in a couple years when you
Yeah.
were 16.
I was 14 when I moved to England and
Yes.
16 to the Netherlands.
Yes.
So yeah, you were here for like 5 years before I arrived.
Did you meet when we were 16?
Yeah, we did. I mean,
Oh, wow.
you were still 15. I had recently turned 16
16.
myself.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then that's where we met in the Netherlands.
Exactly. 2018
2018.
September.
Interesting. But yeah, then we, of course, after that we, talked a bit of our journey in high school and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we've actually both learned new things even during this episode as well.
Yeah, that's true. It's
Yeah.
kind of surprising, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
But I still want to ask you about Britain because that was 2 years
Yeah.
long, but you went to not a simple school, let's say. You didn't go to a public school.
Right.
What kind of school did you go to, Topias Pokinen III?
that is an excellent question, Mr. Comfast.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no. Okay, so ironically enough, in Britain they would actually call them public schools.
Really?
Which is like the opposite of a state school, which is to us American English speakers the same as a public school.
Right.
But yeah, so I went to a very ancient independent school which was founded in the 1500s actually. First as a boys' school, I think they'd had women there for like 30 years prior to me arriving. So like I think 95% of its history had been all boys school. It was a very traditional, sort of a typical Hogwarts like English school. I think I definitely got a really good education from there. I think in general in Britain the independent schools, they tend to be academically more rigorous than most state schools. And obviously that's not to say that there aren't a lot of exceptions and exceptional teachers and academics in the state schools as well.
Okay.
But it tends to be a trend, to put it mildly. I think like, not to get too political, but Britain is still more of a class society than Holland or Finland are, for example.
I see. Interesting.
And I guess that my parents sort of wanted the best for me, so that is at least their interpretation of what would be the sort of move that would serve me the best in my future.
Interesting. I see. And then of course you joined an IB school like me, like myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And which was I don't know how did you find that one? It was different or
it was definitely different from what I was used to in England. I'd say it was definitely more similar to like the school experience that I'd had in Finland during primary school and early middle school.
I see.
But I think our school in Hilversum, it was rather sort of chill, like, as in low hierarchy between the students and the teachers, and everyone was just kind of doing their own thing. I quite enjoyed our last 2 years of high school actually.
So did I.
Yeah.
Enjoyed high school together.
Exactly. For now and forever.
For now and forever. But I think it's as you were saying.
Yeah, so I get the sense that you sort of left most of those friends in India and sort of never talked to the most of them ever after moving.
Yeah, it's partly true and partly not true because when I left, I was in sixth grade, and you have to remember, in sixth grade in India is different than sixth grade in Finland or
for sure.
sixth grade in the West. Because what I mean with that is, for example, my school was very strict in terms of outfits, haircuts, nail length, shoe polish, uniform like tidiness.
Right.
Maybe similar to a British school. But it was very much like if you weren't clean, you get like detention, you get bad stuff.
Yeah.
And you weren't allowed to have phones. You weren't allowed to have watches around. Even watches were allowed from 7th grade onwards, and from 10th grade onwards you were allowed a phone. So it's very much like it's very strict because you're not allowed to carry these things with you, which are quite normal to any, I guess, teenager in the West, in school at least.
Yeah.
Also, having a uniform is very abnormal for anyone in the West who goes to school.
Apart from Britain.
Yeah. But we had to do that, and pretty much no one had social media, email, Gmail, Facebook. Yeah. I also didn't have it until I moved here and I realized everyone's on Facebook or everyone's on Google Hangout back in the day. And then I got on, but that was only because I was here. But all of my friends, like, my only way to reach to them was, usually I would call their house or their parents.
Yeah, exactly.
I would tell them I'm gonna hang out, or I would just go to their house. It was very much like physical. It wasn't so much digital. Yeah. So a lot of those friends I couldn't keep in touch with because there was no way to keep in touch with them apart from, I guess, maybe their parents. But I also moved so abruptly that it was very sudden, and I after a while I catch up with a few of them. Yeah. But it was also like it's been a large gap in middle, and it's like, all right,
Yeah. Because I feel like even though it was only like 3.5 years between the times that we moved. Yeah. For the first time, that is. Yeah. I think it was pretty notable in the sense that I had sort of made the digital leap already, as in I would have my friends' social medias, whereas you at the time didn't. Yeah. And I think like those early teenage years that you already spent abroad, whereas I spent in my home country, those are sort of really transformative in that sense.
True. Yeah. And I still don't have a lot of their contacts online because I try searching the name sometimes, but it never really shows up because there's so many, and it's hard to even recognize some at this point. But I stay in touch with a few of them, and over time it's been more or less roughly keeping in touch, and I'm keeping in touch only when I go back there. Not so much when I'm here. Yeah. But it's sort of how it is.
One interesting question that actually made me think of would be like, do you think it's possible to be friends indefinitely without sometimes seeing the other person in person?
I mean, I guess it depends on your definition as a friend. If you don't have any requirements on a friend, then you can, right? Yeah. If you don't have because it depends. What do you consider as a friend?
That's a really good question that I think we should have maybe defined at the start of the episode. But
true. But we did more about we did talk more about the moving, the internationality of it than the friends.
Yeah, no, I think like a friend is someone that you enjoy spending time with. You have sort of camaraderie with them, and then just friendly, positive emotions with them. Yeah, obviously.
But according to your definition, enjoy spending time together. But if you don't spend time together,
exactly.
I guess indefinitely.
But then again, you run into the question if online time together can also be time together.
Let's say no online time as well. Then what?
Yeah. No, that's why I'm asking the question in the first place.
I think then you can still be cordial, I guess.
Yeah.
You, of course, like when you have a friend, you're talking about stuff and you're invested a little bit in each other's lives, which is what makes you friends. Yeah. But if you're not, then it's sort of like, I just kind of know you, and there's a lot of people and it's.
And I feel like it's possible to keep a friendship running even like on the back burner, sort of, for a long period of time, but it sort of has to have the intent that one day you will be able to spend time together in person again. Right. If that makes sense.
True.
At least that's something that I've sort of noticed with a lot of my finished friendships, some of which have made it up until today and hopefully for years into the future, whereas others maybe, partially because of myself, partially because of their, I guess, just lack of interest in sort of finding a way forward, I guess.
Interesting. This feels very zen to me. It was a very zen podcast, talking about experiences in life.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe next episode we can talk more about friendships.
Yeah,
it seems like a really big topic actually.
Yeah, no, I'm just starting to realize that there's so much more to cover here.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. No, but we'd like to thank you for taking the time to be with us once again. And remember, we are the fucking co-pilots.
That's not an outro.
I know. Yeah, you can honestly do it.
Oh man, thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell notification so you don't miss an update. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Pornhub. I'm kidding.
OnlyFans.
And this has been the Copilots signing out.